Today I want to talk about an incredibly sad story. The story of Jennings, a boy that was pretty much forced to transition by his parents. The whole thing was documented on the internet and on a reality show on TLC. The story is not new. It all happened a few years ago, and I believe at that time this was the youngest transgender kid to undergo hormone replacement therapy. But why is this story relevant again, you may ask? Well, there is a new clip that appeared, where you can clearly see the other side of the story. But first of all, let's watch a short clip that sums up the whole situation pretty well. This is why I think that this was not a decision made by the kid. It was forced by his parents, who probably didn't want a son. So they decided to turn him into their daughter. Imagine how sad this is. This kid could have been a happy and healthy man, but his parents pushed him to make a life-altering decision when he was only a few years old.
What was the first time that you had any inkling that this little boy, Jazz, was different?
The day she came up to me, and I'll never forget it, Barbara, she said, "Mommy, when's the good fairy gonna come with her magic wand and change, my genitalia?"
How old was Jazz then?
2.
At 2, Jazz came to you and said, "When is a good fairy going to, I guess, take off my penis?"
Right, and make it into a vagina.
Do we have any more questions? This should be a pretty clear case of abuse. What a failure of a parent. This is insane. First of all, I refuse to believe that this actually happened. But let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Imagine this: you have a 2-year-old son that just learned to walk and is still learning to speak. He comes up to you and tells you exactly what she just said. Now, as a good parent, what do? You explain to your son that he is a boy and that there won't be a magic fairy that comes and changes his genitals. Or do you tell your toddler that you will find him the best plastic surgeon to chop his wiener off? This is a child. If he really said that, which I highly doubt, you don't just go along with it.
I've met a few trans girls who, after they have had the sex reassignment surgery, they just went crazy.
Really?
Yes.
And the same thing happened to Jazz. This next clip is the one currently going viral, where you can see Jazz telling mom how hard this is. And I would not put the blame on Jazz. Imagine being forced to change your whole life at an age where you don't even know what life really is. And for what? The fame and money. But let's play the clip.
Are you feeling like you wanted to start talking about... Are you okay?
I'm okay.
I'm like going to cry. But
You know I can't get out of my head.
I know. Listen.
It just doesn't stop.
It's okay. Give me a hug. It's okay. I know what you're going through. We've been there before.
No, it still doesn't stop now. And I'm already going back to negative.
But the more you're talking about yourself, it gets harder. You're digging in, and it's making you put a magnifying glass on what's already difficult as it is. So this is hard for you, I know, and we don't want to push you anymore.
I know I'm the one doing it.
I know, you're your own worst enemy.
I feel kind of all over the place, and my mind is very cluttered and not clear. And I really want to have that clarity. I really want to understand myself and be able to read my own soul and what I want. And it's just very challenging. And I think I'm kind of breaking down a little bit and spiraling into negativity. I just want to feel like myself. That's it. I don't care. All I want is to be happy and feel like me, and I don't feel like me ever.
This is genuinely so sad. Listen to the words. I just want to feel like myself. And his mom is the one that has been brainwashing her son into believing that he is a girl. It's all documented. If you research this topic and look past all the articles of how beautiful and brave Jazz is, you will find that it's an incredibly sad story. And how she tries to put the blame on him seems crazy to me. A boy that has been mutilated beyond recognition because his parents are ignorant, selfish assholes. Let's play this last bit again.
I don't care. All I want is to be happy and feel like me, and I don't feel like me ever.
Of course, you don't feel like yourself. Your parents injected you with hormones that were not meant to go into your body. You also had your genitalia removed. And from what I've read on the internet, you had complications from your gender reassignment surgery, or what I would call mutilation. And you've had to get multiple surgeries just to fix what they messed up during your first. Jazz, let's be honest, you are not yourself. You are a version of yourself that your mom created in her head. You were a small kid that trusted his parents and got severely harmed in the process. We're being told that gender reassignment surgery is effective, and helps these individuals feel like their true selves, while situations like these are swept under the rug. The whole woke left just doesn't want to talk about these people who have been harmed by their crazy ideologies. Do you think the doctors or surgeons performing these surgeries don't know that there are complications? Do you think they have their patients' best interests in mind?
From binge
I
eating
know
for
better.
years.
I've been in this place before. I shouldn't be making these mistakes again.
Jess has gained a lot of weight since the show first aired. I decided to look a bit further into this to find out what is causing binge eating. And every article I've read showed that psychological issues are often a leading factor. Well, who would have thought? For those interested, here is the link to the whole article. Stressful life events, such as abuse, death, separation from a family member, or a car accident, are risk factors. Childhood bullying due to weight may also contribute. Well, we know that Jazz was not overweight in his childhood, so that can't be the cause. To me, it sounds like the most likely cause of the ones listed is abuse. But let's check out the rest of this article. Almost 80% of people with BD have at least one other psychological disorder, such as phobias, depression, post-traumatic stress disorder, bipolar disorder, anxiety, or substance abuse. And if you watch the show, you will see that Jez mentions depression pretty often. His parents cared more about clout and money than getting him help in form of therapy. Instead of transitioning Jazz, they should have looked at the causes of his gender dysphoria, if he actually had it, because I want to remind you that the parents made a decision based off of something 2-year-old Jazz said. That's what they should have done. Find this kid a therapist that can find out what the underlying issues that cause his gender dysphoria are. To me, it looks like all his parents saw was fame and money. And now we have a whole generation of other crazy parents who push this BS on their kids. Have a look at this.
You talk to any adult trans people, they will tell you that since the day they were born. You ask anyone who's gay will say, I've always been gay. Will say like, oh, you're forcing it on her, or she's too young to know what's going on. I'm like, but that's your lack of, kind of exposure to that environment. You don't have a trans child. You are not a trans person. So you're just kind of like bandwagoning on what people are saying.
I'm also not a vet, and I can tell you what a cat is. I don't have to be part of the alphabet clan to see how wrong and harmful something you do actually is. This dude has a son he brainwashed into acting like a girl. Also, let's address the exposure argument. Maybe you shouldn't take your kids to LGBTQ events and expose them to this ideology in the first place.
This child, I was given this child by a doctor who had a penis, and it was like, oh, this is a boy. I'm like, hey, I've got a boy. And
the doctor didn't just decide that. He observed that your kid was a boy because
boys have a penis, girls have a vagina.
When you say that she needs to just stop that messing now, cut your hair, go back to being a boy, pack on the uniform, and just keep it on the inside. You know what I mean? And marry a woman and just live your whole life, as a lie.
How is living as what you actually are living a lie? Biology doesn't lie. Genitals don't lie. Chromosomes don't lie. The only one lying here is you by just letting your kid ruin their life.
Because it's going to make other people happy. It's like, is that the message we really want to send out to people?